Hi everyone, Kevin Mackinnon with Triathlon Magazine Canada, and I am here with Cody Beals. Cody, we are in your absolutely beautiful house. So what, is there any truth to the rumor that you're just going to turn into a house contractor now as opposed to a pro triathlete?
You know, Kevin, I gave that a whirl last year, and I really enjoyed it, but it didn't go so well in terms of training and racing on the side.
So, last year, 2018, knocked it out of the ballpark, a fantastic year. This year, a little more sort of an up and down. Had that amazing race in Mont-Tremblant, but you had to deal with some injuries early on. Kona didn't go the way you had wanted. Can you recap 2019 for us a little bit?
If you subtract out that breakthrough Tremblant performance, which was the best of my career, it would be a really lackluster season. That's a generous term, really. It got off to a shaky start with a DNF in Taiwan, actually the first of my career voluntarily, due to illness. Got really sick there and was really reeling from that after. Lost a lot of weight with this nasty stomach bug and launched back into training too quickly and promptly got the first injury of my entire 2 decades in endurance sports. So it was a bit of a wake-up call. You know, I'm almost 30 and I was warned all along that injuries would be something I'd have to start dealing with. And really it was very laissez-faire in terms of conditioning, body maintenance and all that, and it really started to show this year. So I had a string of relatively minor related injuries that really hampered my running leading into Mont-Tremblant and left me with a lot of uncertainty and doubt. Still pulled together some decent races in Victoria for second place, Challenge Cancun second, and Eagleman second as well. So after a string of 3 seconds, I was motivated to get that win in Tremblant.
And that was, I didn't really have a chance to chat with you too much. We did a quick interview right after the race, but looking at that, that was just an out-of-this-world run after probably one of your best bike rides, I would think.
Yeah, I'm still scratching my head over Mont-Tremblant. You would think that I would be absorbing everything I did before that and saying this went perfectly, but really, I'm shocked by how suboptimal the lead-up was. I was telling you earlier, I was only averaging 17 hours a week of training for 2 months leading into that race.
Sorry. You don't get to do only 17 hours for most people.
No, but that's not what most people associate with a world-class level of Ironman training, and I don't think it reflects my full potential. And my running was the biggest question mark of all. I was barely running 50% volume compared to the year before. But also my first 2 Ironmans I did, my first win in Tremblant and then Chattanooga, I ran high 240 marathons. And I wasn't pressured at all. You know, I won those races by 10 to 15 minutes. And so I kind of suspected all along that if I was pressed like Lionel did in Tremblant this year, I had a lot more in the tank, and that was great to see.
So come off this out of this world race in Tremblant, and then you get to Kona, and we chatted, and you even said a few days before, I am feeling the pressure.
Yeah, I was at least honest leading into Kona about all the pressure and anxiety I was feeling. And looking back at that, I could have entirely reframed the experience in terms of opportunity. I chose to interpret it as pressure, but really it was opportunity. There I was as a total Kona rookie. I should have had no expectations on myself and should have felt no expectations from other people. But instead it seemed like I was everyone's dark horse pick for the podium or even the win, which seems outrageous. And although that's all this positive energy people were giving me, I internalized it in a really negative way and was a bit of a nervous wreck on the start line. And the mechanical was a really unfortunate piece of misfortune. But even without that mechanical, I don't think I'd set myself up for the brilliant performance I had in Mont-Tremblant. And I don't really regret that. I focused on making Mont-Tremblant the priority this season. Kona wasn't the priority, and I wouldn't second guess that.
But even, I'm guessing 1, you learned a lot of things out of there, and 2, even with a year where you're struggling, one of your sponsors was the title sponsor of the Ironman World Championship this year, Vega. You must still kind of look back and go, hey, I'm in a pretty decent spot.
Oh man, I'm so grateful for how this year unfolded, even with the challenges. I had my best year ever in terms of sponsorship, so that's a big win. That's putting me in a position where I can afford to go after bigger, riskier races. And so that's a lot more validating and a lot more exciting than having to bang out, 10 B-level performances a year just to make ends meet. So there's definitely a lot of positives from this season, but it was just one humbling learning experience after another, especially in the lead up to Kona. I was very naive to think that I could just roll in there relatively last minute, do a whole bunch of commitments, and then put my best foot forward on the race course. And there are so many things that will change in the future.
So does that mean I'm not going to get that pre-race interview a couple of days out next
Kevin,
year?
I've always got time for you.
So, do you feel like coming out of Kona, you need to be in Kona to truly understand that pressure cooker?
Yes. I thought I could kind of just study the race and get a handle on it, and that couldn't have been further from the truth. I see why people talk about cracking the Kona code and having to put in a long apprenticeship there, and why it's taken some of the best, most notable Kona performances. It's taken those athletes year after year to get it right finally. It's just such a unique race. It's hard to even put into words. It's really, truly unlike any other race. And I'm not speaking in terms of the environmental variables. Yeah, it's hot, it's windy, the course is monotonous. I understand all that. I've raced in similar conditions in the past. It's just the simple fact that you're there with 50 to 60 of the best athletes in the world, a whole host of other talented age groupers, and then all the triathlon media. It's like the epicenter of the triathlon world, and you're right at the center of that pressure cooker. That's the fundamental variable that makes athletes screw up their race before they even get to the start line, I think.
You're not describing something that's particularly fun.
No, to be honest, it was a miserable experience this year. There were some highlights for sure. It wasn't entirely brutal, but it was not a fun month of my life leading into it by any stretch. I think my goal going back there in the future, among other goals, is going to be to have more fun. This career doesn't provide enough financial rewards, and whatever fame or fortune you get doesn't cut it, So it really has to be fun too.
So let's get talking about fun. I'm hoping that 2020 will be more fun. What does it look like, or have you even dialed that in completely yet?
After Kona this year, I was like, not going back there anytime soon, gonna take my time. I think the key lesson there is that I need to go back there when I feel like I have my own good reasons. And I won't say for sure it's not gonna be next year, but I'm leaving that open-ended at this point. What I can say so far about next year, and it's still kind of in flux because calendars are still coming out from Ironman and from Challenge and stuff, I'd like to be back in Mont-Tremblant to defend my title and go for the three-peat. I also recognize it fits really poorly in a Kona-focused season to be racing an Ironman in August. But I will make my best attempt to be back there. I'm going to be racing at least one Ironman earlier in the year, and I also want to keep one foot in 70.3 racing. Of course, I have to go back to Eagleman, where I've raced every single year of my pro career.
And second there last year, so I'm guessing a little motivated to get the win.
I've had 3 wins in Eagleman and 2 seconds, so I would like to get back there and get another win.
You've made quite a jump to Ironman racing. Like 3 out of 4 ain't bad in terms of wins. What has been the biggest challenge for you, and also the biggest reward for you with going to full distance racing?
So I kind of knew I was cut out for full distance racing all along. I've always done better, relatively speaking, when the distance has gotten longer. And that's a pattern that goes all the way back to when I was a kid doing track events. Terrible 100-meter runner, terrible 200-meter runner, and gradually getting better as the distance goes longer. So I knew it would be a distance that I would do well at, and it's been validating to see that come to fruition for sure. It's also been extremely challenging for me because as a self-admitted perfectionist, it's an impossible race to get perfect. And that's what keeps me coming back, though. That's what intrigues me so much about it. When you have 8+ hours to screw things up, things are going to go wrong, So I'll forever be chasing that perfect race in Ironman, and I think that's the greatest challenge of it.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever met anyone who's had a perfect race in an Ironman. So, I watched Jan Frodeno set a world best time, and he crashed on the bike partway through. So I'm not sure that that's possible, but you keep working towards that.
For sure.
Hey, thank you so much, Cody. Good luck. I hope you get some time to enjoy a little bit of downtime before you start the bedlam of getting ready for 2020.
Working hard on that, taking my longest break in my entire career, and working on getting fat and cutting loose a little bit and getting ready for a great season next year.
Okay, I'm not buying that he's getting fat, but we'll let him sort of have that fantasy. He is Cody Beals. I'm Kevin Mackinnon. Thanks for joining us here at Triathlon Magazine Canada.